So welcome everyone to our Healthy Hangout tonight. We're kind of mid-August. It feels almost like summer is coming to an end, but it's not really. We still have another month into September. So if you've not been here with us before in a Healthy Hangout, we're so happy that you joined us. And for those of you who are our veterans, welcome back. Tonight, Dot is going to be doing a wonderful presentation. And to begin with, she's got a couple that is going to do their testimonial. So I'm going to turn it over to Dot now. She's going to unmute herself and we'll be.
There we go. Okay, I got her. Okay, good evening, everyone. You've heard me talk before, and you know how we always like to start our presentation out with a testimonial, and Stephen and Nancy Gray were gracious enough to come on and give us their information about their journey. I was so glad when they reached out to me. He had seen one of his friends who had lost a lot of weight and had talked to him, and they reached out to me. So if you just want to give us kind of where you're at in your journey, how it started and where you're at, and you guys are ready to go on to more goals. You'll have to unmute yourself from your end there.
Okay.
Okay.
There. Awesome.
Can you hear me, everybody?
Good. Good.
So we started our journey the beginning of February after the holidays and through 2020, the COVID times. We had, I think for a few years, had a few pounds to lose and just always thought, well, we can do it when we really want to, but we didn't really do anything about it. And then during COVID, we, put on some more weight. And then we went through the holidays, and January, Stephen said, I have to do something. I'm going to do something. And so he had seen an acquaintance on Facebook who had lost a lot of weight. And so he reached out to him and said, you look great. How did you do? How did you lose all the weight? And he said it was Optavia. And so they started talking. And I was a little skeptical of, some kind of diet plan and something I had never heard of. And so Stephen, through this acquaintance, got into the Optavia community, and we saw that Dot was actually a coach. And Dot is she's married to my cousin, Mark. So when we realized that she was a coach and she was doing this, and she's a nurse practitioner, and, I know she has, she would not do anything not healthy, not smart, and she looks great. And so we reached out to her and found out about Optavia and got on the plan the beginning of February.
And one of the things that what really prompted me was just the look of that individual, because I saw him at a conference and I knew his wife, and we went hiking, but he was not healthy. And then when his appearance came up, and he had lost 100 pounds at that point, and it had only been about 8 months or 9 months at the most. And so I was just thinking about getting involved, and I brought it up, and Nancy wasn't sold at that point, and she wasn't. But the best thing about it was that when we found the coach that we needed, it brought us together. And it is so easy. Well, no, it is so much easier to do it when you're a couple,
right? Because
you have let's do the lean and green tonight. What are we going to have? Let's explore this. And we started venturing into what it really was. I had set a minimal goal of 15 pounds. How's that? And I did that within 12 days. And then I thought, man, okay, now it's 17 pounds. Okay, I did that in 3 weeks. Okay, and now it's 25 pounds, and I did that in about 6 weeks. And it just kept going and going. And I really felt that one of the things that I'm not a bean counter, but I really like numbers. And so I track my weight every single day. And I did it since January, but we didn't start till February, but I've tracked it every day. And just to see that progress, it puts a smile on my face in the morning. But that's not the key. The key is it's not what I've lost, it's what I've gained. And I have gained so much more than weight loss. The non-scale victories are, I heard about the phrase, the NSVs, and I'm going, yeah, whatever, it is what it is, but they're real. And it is just, you know what I've gained? I've gained 2 grandchildren since then. That's what I've gained. So now for a total of, I have 5 grandchildren. That's what I've gained. I've gained the energy to be with them. That's what I've gained.
Yeah, that was our motivation, I
Yeah.
think, for me anyway, that we knew we were expecting 2 more grandchildren, which we now have, but in February. And being with the 3 that we had at that time, it's pretty exhausting. And I just thought we really have to get ready for this.
Yeah. And I've always maintained my weight. Always. For the last 15 years, I've been the same weight. And I was happy with that until I wasn't. Do you know what I'm talking about? Shake your head if you know what I'm talking about. Because you're at this weight, but you weren't happy with it. And so I realized that I had to do something for me. And it just so happened that I had the opportunity to do it with Nancy too. And that really was a real positive thing for us. And now I'm at a weight where I'm happy with it. But can I do more? I don't know. Maybe I can, but I'm at a place where I'm really comfortable with who I am as a person. I have more confidence. I'm a motivational speaker, just like Dot is going to be someday. I read that today. So
Yeah, I'm working towards it, let me tell you.
I know you are.
So, we've talked before in the past that, you guys are really, really close to your goal weight. Well, Nancy is at her goal weight. And then we've talked about, what's next. That's not the end. That's just the beginning. And so then I think you talked about you guys were both wanting to get more into exercise and do more in that realm. So I just kind of wanted to point that out that,
Right.
this isn't the end. This is just the beginning. And then what's next.
Yeah, I think that's where we are now. That's where I am
Yeah.
anyway. Again, with COVID, we both belong to a fitness center, but we hadn't really been in a while. And so I would like to really, get back into that and maintain this weight, but improve tone and
Yeah.
um,
And I work at a university and it's peaks and valleys. So we are at a peak right now because the freshmen are moving in. It's all this, and then it's going to slow down. So then I'll be able to get back into a routine for the rest of the semester. So that's what I've been waiting for. It's my excuse for not working out, but that's what I've been waiting for. So we all have excuses and we make them, and they're very personal, and that's okay. But we realize that the end goal is we have a date on that in our mind somewhere. We have a date that we're going to get there. So
That's
great.
You guys are so awesome. That's great. And it's wonderful that you're working on creating some additional structural tension, which we always talk about, by doing the movement, exercise, whatever that is next thing is, to pull you towards a new goal as you start to transition and get to where you want to be, as you're getting to where you want to be. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
Stephen and Nancy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's a great story. Dot.
Okay, we're going to do the screen share, my challenge. So hang on here. All right, can everybody see this?
yeah.
mhm.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to talk about creating a leptogenic world, and I'd never heard of that term before I got into Optavia. And we hear a lot about we live in an obesogenic world, and so leptogenic actually is a Latin word for thin. So that's where Dr. Anderson got it from. So I just thought I'd interject that. So Dr. Anderson, he really takes us through element 4 with mindset. And, mindset's pretty powerful. We've found that when we started on our journey. And this is kind of like, everywhere we look, it threatens our willpower. It seems like there's donuts and cakes and everything that we love that's just right there around the corner. And Dr. Anderson talks about, willpower is not something you have or don't have, but a resource that becomes depleted and like a battery can be recharged. So his thought is, and it's true too, how many times have you guys started out your week like, Monday, I'm going to be good, whether it's a 5 and 1, or I'm going to start that exercise routine, or, this is a good week, or it's the first day of the month. And it's like you start out really strong for the day, or you start out really strong for the week. And then life happens and you've got all this stress. And then it's like your willpower is just struggling. So what element 7 goes through is it has you recognize where you might have some obstacles, that when your willpower is weaker, things that you can put in place so to help maneuver through those obstacles in those times. And a lot of this, well, all of this is in your book. It actually starts on page 169. But there's just a few areas that they talk about cleaning up the environment so you don't have all that stuff around you. If you remember last month, I kind of talked about how you reacted to the environment when you had stuff at you. But now this is where you're going to clean up your environment. And a lot of you probably started doing this when you first started the program, but I thought I'd still go ahead and go through it some. I'm not going to read it word for word. You can read it and it's in your book. But, sometimes over time, some of this stuff might be creeping back into your cabinet. So I've kind of got the stuff that you would expect to get out of your cabinet, out of your pantry. And there's a lot of stuff in your pantry. That's where all your processed foods are at. And, processed foods are unhealthy for your body, for your weight loss journey, and for your heart, and for inflammation in your body. So it's not just about the weight loss journey. And the obvious is there, your white flour, your white bread, and your Crisco, and your potato chips, your pretzels, your popcorn. And, some people will say, but I have teenagers in the house, or I have kids in the house. They need all this processed foods. Well, no, not necessarily. They don't need all the processed foods. I mean, that's a good time to start teaching them healthy habits too. I imagine Heidi has very healthy options for her small ones that she's got at home. Have fruit there, and you don't have to buy potato chips. Get them something healthier. I mean, you could buy them multi-grain chips or something like that. And definitely the little ones don't need cookies. Give them some yogurt, or um, for sure yogurt and apples and fruit and things like that. And that's why we have, I see a lot of overweight kids in the office that I work. And if they just had some healthier eating habits, would help some, I believe. So the things that you want in your pantry, hopefully all of you have this good stuff in your pantry for your fixing your lean and green meals, olive oil instead of your Crisco. And then when you're in optimization, you'll want whole grains and whole wheat flour in your cabinet versus the white flour. My daughter was here over the weekend. My grandson had grown this zucchini in his garden. And so she was looking for some flour to make some zucchini bread. And she was upset she couldn't find any. But she come up with some and she made it anyway. But anyhow, she couldn't find it. And then you'll have your spices and your herbs. And if you're not for sure what all is available to spice up your lean and green meal, definitely look at your expanded condiment, your healthy fats list, and stuff like that should be what's going in your pantry. And for sure, put your Optavia front and center in your pantry. I had a lady just talk the other night that she was struggling. She was hungry in the evening, and she went to her cabinet, and she had just placed all her Optavia at eye level. So when she opened up her cabinet, she was kind of looking for chips, but there was the Optavia. So she grabbed an Optavia bar instead of the chips. So if you have that there, and put the unhealthy stuff up high where you can't see it, or outside, or in another cabinet altogether if you can't get it out of the house. So the refrigerator, hopefully people have gotten rid of their whole milk or their full fat cheese or their full fat yogurt, their full fat cottage cheese, mayonnaise. And, the processed deli meats has a lot of sodium in it. The bacon and the hot dogs has a lot of sodium in it. And the peanut butter, the jelly that you put in your peanut butter and the salad dressings. Talking about peanut butter, I remember Shirley Mast saying one time that in a thing that she gave, that peanut butter was her kryptonite. So she could not have peanut butter in her house. And I'm kind of that same way, just one little bite of peanut butter, but it doesn't turn out that way. And I was thinking about the PB2 also, sometimes the hacks will have some of the PB2, but if you're maybe struggling with, you're plateaued and, we always say, pay attention to the condiments that you're using. And maybe you could be doing too much PB2. I mean, it's lower in calorie and stuff, but you still can do too much of it if you're plateauing. So the things that you should have in your refrigerator is, your lean chicken, your meats, hummus, eggs, your fresh vegetables, and of course your dill pickles. You got to have the dill pickles in your fridge, and your water. And for people who have iced tea, the unsweetened iced tea, and your olives. And the freezer, of course, the freezer you can't see. It's not quite as visual as when you open up the refrigerator door, but obviously get rid of the frozen fruits that has the sugar, the frozen vegetables that has like the sauces on it, the frozen orange juice lemonade that's made from concentrate, any breads, and the frozen entrees. It says containing rice and pasta, but even with helping people over the years, any of the frozen entrees that might even be a Weight Watchers and stuff, there's just a lot of sodium. And with helping people, sometimes when they haven't been able to lose weight, I'll say, don't do the frozen entrees in the freezer and just go clean. And that usually will help. And then what you want in your freezer is your frozen vegetables, broccoli, spinach, cauliflower, green beans. And I always have some of this in the freezer, especially if I wasn't, you're coming home late from work and it's like, what am I going to make? I didn't pick up any fresh vegetables at the store. So I've always got that in the freezer that I can pull out if I need it. And along with frozen shrimp, frozen shrimp is just so easy to fix in a hurry too. So I've always got frozen shrimp in my freezer. And then when you, if you're on the 4 and 2 or you're on maintenance, you'll want your frozen fruits, your blueberries, peaches, raspberries, strawberries, and then veggie burgers. And I had some turkey burgers and I was impressed. My 14-year-old granddaughter was here and she fixed herself a turkey burger for lunch one day. And I was very impressed. She was 14, learning the healthy habits already. So a little bit just about preparation and storage, and probably we've all read this. This probably isn't new news, but to eat on a 9-inch plate instead of a 12-inch plate, so your portion sizes seem large. And the color of the plate is important too. Like such as a green plate can make the vegetable portion seem larger. If you had it on a white plate, it might make it look smaller. So the color of the plate can be important. And then definitely keep large glasses of water on the table along with a pitcher of water that people can refill their water glasses. And do not set bowls of food on the table. If you don't have, if you've got leftover portions, make sure and keep it on the counter so that you have to get up. Hopefully you won't need a second helping, especially if you've got it measured out for your lean and green meal. But keep it up on the counter so it's not easily reachable. And then the leftovers, you want to store in a clear container, the healthy leftovers, so that you can see them when you open up the refrigerator. And if there's unhealthy leftovers that maybe you had fixed the kids or the teenagers, you put that in aluminum foil so you can't see it, out of sight, out of mind. Grocery store, I think everyone knows not to go to the grocery store hungry, although that's oftentimes we'll go after work and that's when we're hungry. So try and time that a little bit differently, and then shop the perimeter for the vegetables and the proteins. And I know I saved a lot of money when I started on the Optavia program because I didn't go down those middle aisles, and the processed stuff is expensive. So if you're in your car driving home from work or driving to work, if you're a big Starbucks, you like all the loaded sugar stuff, don't drive by there. Don't drive by Dunkin' Donuts if donuts has been your kryptonite. And gas stations, gas stations have lots of junk in them that people like to grab. They have the donuts, they have the frozen pizza, they have the pizzas and other things. So, and the unhealthy sandwiches or any other place that might be tempting along the way. Just don't drive by there. I know I've got one lady who she has this little grocery store that she feels it's a win for her not to stop at this little grocery store on her way home from work. And she's always proud to tell me that she did not stop at that grocery store. Restaurants, we have the Great Dining Out Guide to give us guidelines for when we go to the restaurant. But sometimes too, you might not make the healthiest choice if it's been a stressful day. I always encourage people to look at a menu ahead of time, to plan where they're going if they're going out to eat. But if it's an unplanned stop that you haven't had a chance to look ahead, at least try and pick a place to go that that they have a healthy option. And probably try and avoid the barbecue because it has a lot of sodium in it, and the barbecue sauce probably isn't on our plan. And fast foods, some of the fast food restaurants have nice salads, but if you've had a stressful day and you go in there and you see all these pictures of these hamburgers, these cheeseburgers, and these fries, if you think that that's going to be difficult for you to pass that up, don't even go in the door. And I know I listened to another lady talk one time that she had addiction to fast food. And so that was a big hurdle she had to cross. And she talked about having little yellow sticky notes in her windshield. And that one time she just drove through the drive-through. She didn't stop and get anything. She just drove through the drive-through. And that was how she handled something like that. And the bedroom, getting a good night's sleep is very important for us to help make better decisions, because if we're tired and then we have a stressful day, that just kind of multiplies. And get rid of the clutter. You sleep better in a clean bedroom. And if you have a TV in there, either unplug it or remove it completely. Have a good schedule that allows you to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep and keep the temperature cool. Dr. Anderson talks about 68 degrees. I don't know, summertime, 68 degrees sounds pretty cold to me. Wintertime, I could see that a little bit better, but you do sleep better when it's cooler. And definitely keep it dark. And Shirley Mast, I think it was just this past Monday night, was talking about, she just bought a new alarm clock, not realizing, she got the bigger alarm clock so she could see the numbers, but it really put a lot of light into the bedroom. So maybe if you have to have an alarm clock, get one that's small and turn it away from the bed. So take action from the meeting tonight, our community time, and ideally go into your life book if you haven't filled that out yet, and just identify 3 things. Think about through your day, and if you had a bad week last week, what could you have changed in the environment to maybe be more conducive to keep you on your goals. So do try and write down 3 things tonight before you go to bed that you're going to do in response to what we've talked about. And then I wanted to just leave you with a couple quotes. One, I just took out of the Coffee Talk book that Pam talked about last week, and I really, really liked it. Life is from the inside out. When you shift on the inside, life shifts on the outside. And the other one that I truly, truly love, I always have this in front of me. Happiness is the new rich. Inner peace is the new success. Health is the new wealth. And kindness is the new cool. So that's what I have got for my presentation. And I thought we have just a couple minutes here, but I wanted to see if anybody else had anything that they have done in their environment to keep them on track, maybe something that I didn't mention, but's been very helpful to them for something that's been their kryptonite to help them develop their healthier habits.
Do you want to stop the share so you can
Yes.
see everybody? That would be great.
Awesome. Well, Heidi, what do you have available for your kids?
Put me on the spot. Probably not all perfect things, but I also make sure it's like the healthiest version of what I'm getting, and also that it's not a temptation for me. So, if it was a snack that was a little less healthy and it was also one of my favorites, it'd be trouble. So I do a lot of things from Costco that they have some really great healthy bars that have no sugar in them, that have natural sweeteners and things like that. They love those. Some of the fig bars, dried fruit, and they love the low sugar yogurts. So that's a really big go-to for us. And fruit, yeah.
I've kept fruit for the grandkids, and I've also, they've gotten where Hudson comes in and asks for pistachios. And the funniest thing, I get the little turkey sausages, and he comes into my house wanting a turkey sausage link and string cheese. So it's like he's not coming in looking for cookies and candy at his grandmother's. He's looking for the little sausage links that he thinks taste good. I don't know why his parents don't buy them, but they don't, and it's a treat here.
And they're really big on protein too. I'm a vegetarian, so we try to include some sort of vegetarian protein with every meal, and that really helps curb the munchies when they would be going. But they really don't snack at all. We just do 3 meals a day. So for them, at least, I do 6.
I've suggested to clients that, when they set up the Ziploc bags for the week, that they have them all set and they're ready and easily accessible, so that I say that when you like open up the pantry door, it's almost as if, when you have a power outage and you don't want to open your refrigerator too long, and because when you have a power outage, you open the refrigerator really fast to get whatever you need and close it right up because you don't know when the power is going to go back on. So it's sort of the same thing with the pantry. It's like open it really quick, grab what you need that's right there, and close it right up, so you're not kind of lingering and looking and wondering, what should I have, which fueling. Get them for the week, and you're good to go, and you're less tempted.
I've put some of my father-in-law's goodies. He's 92 and he's little. He's very thin, and he's got an extreme sweet tooth. So when he moved in with us, it was like he wanted his pound cake and his chocolates and his stuff. And I did not need to see that or be around it. And I've put the stuff back into the back of the pantry where I don't see it when I open the door, kind of the same thing that Mitzi was just talking about, but it's just, you'd have to kind of dig for it as opposed to it just sitting there in your face. I've considered buying a bread box to put his pound cake in so that it's out of sight, out of mind. Just getting it out of the view, because it's like, what I found about myself is that I don't eat his pound cake, but then I'll snack on something else too much. And even too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing when you're on 5 and 1. So you might just get things out of the line of sight. Helps a lot.
So Scott, thank you so much. And thank you to Grace, Nancy, and Steve for your story. Got wonderful presentation. And we are going to switch now to our coach training. So if you're a coach, you want to stay on. And for those of you who are clients, just enjoy the rest of your evening. It was great to see everybody here. And we'll see you all next week.